Hello, everybody. I'm here today with Dr. Sharon Fair, and we're going to be talking her new book,
And the book is
Female
called
Animals,
Male and Female Mammals for girls and boys ages 3 to 8.
which you can find at this link at the Wellness Society.org. Sharon, would you like to tell us what inspired your book? Sharon, would you like to tell us what inspired?
Well, it started off when I first realized I was a turf. I started thinking about it.
Yeah, and
There
we have a
is
need
a
for
lag
books like
time.
this.
Shall I just keep talking? Because there's a lag time from when I speak and when I hear it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know that, but you can keep talking.
Okay.
Tell us about your.
So I realized I was a turf. I realized I was a turf about a year and a half ago. It was December 2022, and only because someone called me a turf. I had never heard the term before. I was on Facebook having like an argument with this gay guy who was saying that I'm transphobic, blah, blah, blah. And the reason I got so interested is my daughter was a tomboy, a real tomboy, and she's now a lesbian, very happy. And I thought to myself, my God, if this would have been 5 years ago, she would have been 5 years younger. She would have been targeted by the trans cult. And so that really woke me up to it. And I've authored other books. So then I came around probably about 6 months ago to thinking, hey, why don't I write a children's book?
It's much needed.
And prepared.
Yeah. Children are getting so much propaganda in the schools. We need something that counters it, and your book really hits that.
Yeah.
I love the artwork on it, and the cover is just beautiful. By the way, you can buy it here at the Wellness Society.org or directly from Sharon if you see her at some event or something. But she's from Florida. We're both Florida turfs, and that's how I had the privilege of meeting you. But we're going to talk more about the beautiful artwork and your message. Like this. This is just great.
There's a lot of echo from me on my end. Are you getting the same thing?
No, I'm getting it clear. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's your computer's a little slow or something. I'm sorry about that. But I do love the image. The gender unicorn.
Full with the volume. Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Do you hear me fine?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear you. It's just like when I speak, then about 15, literally like 10 seconds later, that's when I hear me on the YouTube.
Okay, turn off your YouTube. We're just talking, you and me.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. When on this chat room we're in.
Okay.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, I think I get it.
I'm sorry. Technical issues on my channel are just infamous.
Okay.
But we're here to discuss Sharon's book.
There it goes. Okay. Good. We solved it.
Yes.
See what women can do working together as opposed to not with each other.
And again, we should all be supporting other turfs.
Yeah.
And this beautiful book that needs to be out there so that children can see the reality that gingerbread person is not a person.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I really like about when I
started it in an animal book. That's great.
Yeah. When I looked at children's book, they're all like using like fanciful characters. So when the trans came up with these fanciful characters, the genderbread person and the gender unicorn,
yes,
right in. because kids are used to seeing that in children's books. And then I thought, I want to use live and real animals, because I know children love animals. They do. They love dogs and cats, and they love, different animals that you might see at a zoo, or
this is just a very smart way of tackling it, because you're showing the difference between a cartoon, fictional thing, and you're telling them about dogs.
Exactly.
And that they give birth.
Yeah.
Males and females. It's just beautiful.
Yeah. When I came up with it, I don't want to sound immodest, but I go, what a great idea. And then I grabbed it and ran with it. And actually, I started thinking, why aren't more children's books based upon, photographs of pets, of animals? Because children really do, if you take a child to like the zoo, or like a farm, or like to Disney's, where they have that one wild adventure place, the animal. I mean, children really get into it just naturally, without having to force them. Oh, yeah. So this is really cute. I chose a lot of the names I chose based upon real. Now, the children, of course, are going to be innocent to this. Doesn't matter.
Right.
But, the adults reading this will hopefully, if they aren't aware of the big names and the trans versus the anti-trans, then they'll, although I will say that probably most everyone's heard of Jazz.
Of course.
Yeah. So I paired specifically Ellie and Jazz.
This is very smart.
Yeah. Yeah. And I said, Ellie is a female dog.
Jazz Elliot is definitely a female.
Yeah.
This is clever. This is so smart. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Go to the page after this.
Okay.
Yeah. Where I then, okay, here it is.
Pregnant. But there's
Ellie, yeah, because their argument is, the trans people, the cult, is that, well, some women can't have babies. Well, oh, right. Okay, right. Some women can, but that's because they're either too young, too old.
Or they're not having sex.
Yeah, or they're just choose not to. But a man can never, ever, ever, ever have a baby. Ever.
Let's get into the next page.
Okay. Oh, okay, Trela.
This is the reality of the pregnancy.
Yeah. And I picked Trela because she's the friend of a man. And switch to the next page really quick, and then we can switch back.
Oh, this is Lauren.
Yeah. Because Roddy is a friend of Trela. Now, Roddy is the birth name of Laverne Cox. His name is.
This is great.
Roderick. So I chose Roddy.
Voted against the propaganda.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Look at this. This is just like, look at this dog in that face. It's so adorable.
Yeah, and he's sad. He's sad because he wants to be like, skip on back to Trela. Trela's a woman. Mm-hmm. She has many children. She's able to give birth. And then, of course, I add in little things like this for the children, like how many puppies did Trela birth? Just
they can think. They can see the pictures.
Yeah. Oh, this one, I'm so happy with this one, Chloe. And I wish I'm going to send her the book if I can find a way to try to get the book in her hands, because from what I experience from her, all the, when she's speaking, I think she'll be very happy about this. I really do think that she'll be happy that I've named a mammal after her.
In your book, after Chloe Go.
Yes. And also, what's interesting about this one too is, sadly, Chloe's body cannot make milk for her puppy because Chloe was hurt when she was young.
That's all the kids right there.
Yes. And then skip on to the next page.
All right.
Oh, can you go to the one where I'm feeding Chloe's puppy? Did that come out? Or no?
I don't know if you put
Kind
that
of
one
out
in
of
there.
order. Okay. Well,
I totally wrong.
yeah, in my book, the next page I have is me volunteering to help Chloe, and I have a little bottle, and
Aw.
I'm feeding the bottle to Chloe's puppy. You know, yeah. And then this one goes into the horse. And this mare has birthed her baby. The mare is now a mother, baby who blah blah blah. And then the mare, the foal is drinking milk.
And it's showing the importance of breastfeeding, you know, to children.
Yeah.
It is an important function. It's not there for any other reason.
Yeah. And it's milk. It's not a bunch of chemicals.
This is just so down to earth and humble and real. Like, children are disconnected from this. Nowadays, they learn about these things through The Sims, and they think they could actually pick your sex, and you just change a little like coding, and then you're like something else. And like, no, that's how reality works.
Exactly. And I think this is one of the downsides of that. You know, children don't often go to farms and zoos. I mean, I know when my daughter was young, I must have taken her to the zoo like a dozen times. But I don't know if a lot of parents still
before you didn't have this propaganda in the school to even worry about.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then big cats are mammals who live in a zoo. And here I'm just pointing out some of the differences between males and females.
And subcategories.
Because they are
animals that are mammals as well.
Yes, and they are different. And then I have this is about halfway through the book. Take it back one page again.
Okay.
So this is forward one.
Okay, well, this is back.
Yeah. So this is about halfway through the book. And I know children, and they get, you know, bored or, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I have in there, can you stretch like the lioness? And that's so that the kid can get up
and go along with the book.
Yes. And then go back to reading it. Exactly. Yeah.
That would be so interesting to see somebody like read this in person.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you had the photograph of the one young boy reading it, right? Somewhere.
Oh, I think I have that on the cover of this, but I didn't put it into the video because I was afraid of like one day that maybe they connect him with the propaganda and they're like teasing him.
Oh, okay.
You know, I didn't want to go that far.
Okay. Yeah, it's a really cool picture. I mean, I could not have paid a child actor enough to get this true, genuine picture of this boy genuinely in tune with the book, reading it with great interest. And his mom even shared with me that he's very highly distractible, has difficulty concentrating. And she said this is like the first or the only book that he's ever read and been interested in and hasn't pushed off to the side. So that
means beautifully done.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really great feedback. Yeah, and then here I'm talking about, that men have, you know, certain job because men are stronger, they're bigger, they're faster.
This is the way they are nature.
That's so a lion needs to protect his family. So the lioness,
as it should be.
Yeah. One of the most important things she's doing is, you know,
nurturing and taking care of,
nurturing. And, you know, she's
also protecting.
Pardon me?
She's also protecting her cubs.
Yes.
I mean.
Yes, she is. But the man is supposed to, and the male lion protects both of them, just as men right now should be protecting.
Exactly.
They all should. These men that are just, you know, waiting out in the sidelines and saying, well, women should be speaking up about this. And
women are speaking up.
Right. We are. Women are. Men are supposed to be helping, and they're not. They're just sitting there.
Well, it's just lion versus lion, you know? We're not being attacked by some other species. We're being attacked by other, you know, men in dresses trying to be lioness. It's cuddle fishing, you know?
Yeah, well, the analogy that I have about it is like millions of years ago, or if you want to go back tens of thousands of
Yeah.
years ago, if a tribe came in, a band of men who were going to rape and pillage and plunder their township, their what do you
They're
call it?
women.
No, group.
That's what they thought of
Um,
as property.
yeah, the men of that tribe would have stood up and fought those band of men. But
Right.
it's like now the men are standing back and go, I don't want to get involved, and you have a
What
couple of
benefits them to begin with. This is where it makes it easier to attack women
yes
than to fight each other.
yeah, but they need to
Oh yeah, they
stand up.
definitely need to
Yeah.
stand up for what's right.
Yes,
Because they're
Yeah.
protecting their young. Like this is
Yeah.
your job.
yes, their wives, their girlfriends, their mothers, their daughters, their sisters. I mean, duh, they're even
And
if
not just
they're
from
not a
men,
woman.
it's from the reality. Like this is a propaganda that's going around that's affecting everybody. You can lose your job, you can be pulled off. Like so much of society is going to be brainwashed with
Yes. Yeah.
follow the state rules or you're done.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of younger people. It's going to, whatever that age range is.
They're afraid to offend. I mean, that is the most ridiculous concept out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and this is when I have an intro that humans are mammals who live in houses.
We are also mammals.
Yeah, we're also mammals.
That in there.
Yeah, because I had talked about lions live in the wild and blah, blah, blah. Cattle live on a farm, blah, blah, blah. And just like all the other mammals, like every mammal that we've been talking about, lions and tigers and bears, each human is also either a male or a female.
Male or female. That's how we're born and wired. It is a binary sex of mammal.
Yeah, and there are 6,500 or so mammals, and we're just like all the other.
That's how we got here. We all got here because of egg and sperm. Like
yes,
no matter how you put it.
Yes. And then I'm just, after I talk about the girls and the boys, then I want to
grow up into men and women.
Yes, give them a woman as an adult human female. And then women tend to be nurturing. Usually a woman can become pregnant, birth a baby, and nourish her baby with milk her body has made. Her body.
Right.
Yeah.
And not from hormones.
Yes. Yes.
It's never been done synthetically.
You really wonder what illnesses those children who are being given that chemical concoction.
There's going to be future generations affected by this, at least 2 or 3, down the road.
Yeah. And this, I also emphasize here that men tend to be bigger, taller, stronger, faster. That's just
yes, the body alone is just like ridiculous. They're 3 times stronger.
Yeah. Upper body wise. For sure. Yeah.
Usually women with hormones for generations, it would not compensate. Yes. No training harder will do it.
Yeah. And then I have a woman who's pregnant and she gave birth, and I talk about her. And then I talk about a woman who's breastfeeding, natural woman's made milk.
Yes.
And I bring in the husband.
I'll have you and Kim will on for the Mother's Day special. That'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's coming up.
Yes. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Just less than 2 weeks.
Turf moms. I do support all the turf moms out there.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a good marketing campaign here somehow. Yeah. So then is the slide after that lined up?
Yes, of course.
With this father then. Now, the father cannot breastfeed, but still loves his baby, and he can feed his daughter cow's milk formula he bought from a store. So I'm very honest. I'm very straightforward. It's a cow's milk type of type of formula. And
Right. It
earlier,
comes from the cows.
yeah,
Or from the mom.
yes,
Depends
it comes from cows, which are female, female
Right.
cow. It doesn't
Or
come
you can
from
bottle
bull.
feed the breast milk if it's bottled, like father
Right,
can do that.
right.
But he cannot produce it. I mean, that Glactia is going to be a horror show.
Yeah.
It does not supply a child the nourishment they need. It is not good for their system. It is not natural. It is deadly, possibly, to endorse a child with that. And it's really just a fetish.
Yeah. Yes.
But this,
I mean, who on earth would, I mean, there are, to be honest, a lot of women choose, pardon?
Oh, the comments. I'm just talking about how great your book is, and everybody's, giving us feedback. It is a beautiful book.
Oh, thank you. Oh, okay, because you're on the other thing. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel so sorry for these children. Oh, okay. So, do you have the one where it's the gingerbread person? Is that on the slide that you can bring up first?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So this thing, I call it a thing.
It is a thing. A gingerbread is a thing.
It's called a genderbread person. And notice I have the pink, white, and blue. And the reason I have that is because I want the children to begin to associate pink, white, and blue with fake, phony, not real.
Lies, propaganda.
Yeah, yeah. So this thing is not a human. It is fake. This thing is not a mammal. It's not real. A genderbread person has nothing to do with males or females or boys or girls because it is not real. And then I go, if you'll take one slide back to that.
Yes, we'll go back to corresponding gingerbread cookie.
Yeah. Okay. However, even though that genderbread person is a bunch of phooey, ask an adult if you can help him make gingerbread cookies, because gingerbread cookies with milk are yummy.
Right. And they don't have no sex. You know why? Because they're food. It's like a gummy bear.
Yeah.
Gummy bears are not real bears. Hot dogs are not dogs. Like, come on.
Exactly. Yeah, I actually could have put gummy bears there,
No, you could add that in.
The bear. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to share all your information now with everybody. This is how you contact Sharon on her own Facebook or her YouTube. Her YouTube channel is killer. I totally recommend you subscribe, like, and share. She's been endorsed by so many other women, and I'm going to adding my endorsement here. Go out and get her book. It is beautiful. It is anti-grooming. It is fighting the propaganda. Share your comments on her Amazon.
And I just want to add just a couple things. Like here's the book. And as you can see, they're full color pages. And my
glossy, it is beautiful.
I mean, it just if I can say so myself, just beautiful, beautiful book. And there's a hardcover and there's a paperback. And I had to set the price at the Amazon and the publisher price. So unfortunately, I cannot offer it any lower. If I could, I would. However, what I've been able to do is offer a discounted rate. If you go to where my website is, wellnesssociety.org/children. If you buy it through that site, I am able to offer it by actually reducing the amount of royalty that I get, so that you all can buy it at a cheaper price and hopefully share it. There's a 10% off if you buy the paperback and a 20% off if you buy the hardback.
And please go ask your schools to hold, these books, because it's important for children to have something that fights the propaganda. Go ask the school board if they will carry this book in their libraries.
Yes, and I actually already had one woman in California, a TERF, who had some pull with her public library, and she's added it already. I
want to see more kids reading stories about reality and the facts that there's mammals have two sexes.
Yes, and gender equals sex. There's no difference. Gender is a synonym for sex. You have male and female sexes, and you have male and female genders. That's it. And also,
are fake. Fantasy.
All this baloney that they've added on to gender, social construct, blah blah blah. It's just trash. It's just trash. However, if there's anyone out there who is really on a tight budget, you can message me through the website, and if you just pay shipping, which is like $4.78, so just round up to $5.
She's not doing this for profit. She's doing this to get the word out.
Yes.
It's very important to have other alternatives.
Yeah, because I have a few what they call beta testers where I had different children tested. And so I have some copies of those. So if you'd really like to get the book, but your budget's tight, please feel free to just send me the shipping costs, and I will send you the book.
Yes, and
yeah,
we're all here in this channel supporting keeping children safe from propaganda and like a reality-based education. This is really fundamental. Here in Florida, they have book bans so that the groomers don't get to you, but the laws only protect 7-year-olds. Mm-hmm. After you're 7, they can still get into your schools and promote all kinds of insanity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is really sad. I was so happy to hear that our governor prohibits talking about transgender nonsense in schools until I heard it's only through 3rd grade. It's like
it is totally, completely nonsense.
It really should. I mean, it's really just fake. I don't know why they'd even be talking about it in any grade unless they include it in a psychology course in high school, because transgender is like the newfangled term for transsexualism, which is a mental illness. So if they want to talk about transsexualism, the mental illness in a psych course in high school, then that would be fine. And to make them aware that transgender is just this name that the cult leaders came up with to make transsexualism more.
It is a religion.
Palatable. Yes.
It is a same-sentient religion where you have to train your brain to see things that are not real and play along and pretend in the name of respect.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's a recent book banning limit that's been enacted because now, unless you're in the schools, if someone like me who's a concerned citizen goes to the library and wants to take a book out because it's sexual and children should not be reading this, I am limited to 1 report. But that's because Ron claims they wanted to kick the Bible out of high schools.
I think that's probably the case, to be honest with you.
Well, it's true. Probably the liberals probably jumped on that and they're like, okay, you want nothing sexual, take out the Bible. And I do kind of agree with maybe Bibles shouldn't be in schools.
Yeah. Well, I think we should. That's a totally different topic.
High school, maybe. But it doesn't need to be in your elementary school.
Yeah. But definitely pro-trans books and books talking about sex for children.
Right.
That's not necessary. Children.
There should be no sex talks about
Yeah.
I mean,
when I was in school, we had a course in sex ed in 7th grade. Did you take a course in sex ed?
No, I mean not until 4th grade or something when you're hitting puberty. But before that, when I go out, just we tell stranger dangers. We know what we need to tell them, and don't touch, things that we're no longer telling them. We're telling them how to be sweet and kind to anybody, strangers in the streets. We want to care about their feelings if they're different. I'm if somebody gives you creepy vibes, your child is supposed to be able to run and tell adults. That is what they need to do. Right.
To listen to their gut feeling, then and there was even this really helpful thing I saw somewhere, that to teach your daughter if some man or is approaching her, go to the nearest woman and say, mommy, this man here, because woman, their natural
lessons that kids are no longer getting. They're being told about gender unicorns and gingerbread men and be kind because you might hurt someone's feelings. That's not what your child needs to learn.
Right.
They need to learn about the realities, which we used to have, because like you said, children used to be on farms with reality there in their face.
Yeah. However, one of the ways people now can get their children to a farm, to a zoo, to a cattle ranch, out in the jungle. I even talk about some chimps out in the jungle. They can at least read about it till they can go off to a real one.
Right. This is a great way to counter what's being said.
Yes.
With a physical book.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be out there doing some real work. You know, you and me, we both coordinate groups in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
You have Mama and Papa Bears because you wanted to find more parents and get them involved in the turfdom.
Yes. Yeah.
I've been running Female First Florida because we want to prioritize women. That's my prioritize, you know, who I prioritize.
Right.
Not just lesbians, but women.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. And I've always really pushed that, you know, mothers really need to take a stand and really need to be more vocal and verbal, and fathers and men should be right there beside them. You know, men shouldn't be quiet about this, you know, because of what we spoke of before, because their wives are being adversely affected. Their daughters are getting.
Why are men scared? Why are men scared of other men? Like,
what I think it is that, especially white man, they're at the bottom of the totem pole right now. I think it's more the
they're
black.
Not at the bottom of the totem pole, though. They have all the money and the power. Matt Walsh puts out a book.
Yeah.
The Warriors book. And he gets all the credit. A woman like you puts out a book.
Yeah. Well, that is true, that those few men. Yeah. Yeah. But men in general just seem to be, I don't want to say cowardly now.
Yes, and that's what I'm telling you. I'm like, why? Why are they not fighting up for their own rights to speak the truth? I just don't understand that.
I don't know. I was giving a demonstration in downtown St. Augustine. It was last May or something. And I had this man, obviously from like the Boston area, with his accent, and I had like a bullhorn talking, and he came over to me, and first thing he asked if he could pet my dog, because I had my German Shepherd, and I said no. No, you can't pet my dog. But Zach, I don't want some strange man coming up to me, you know. So then he stepped back and gave me the space that I required that he give me. And he said, "You're doing such a great job. You know, women's rights are really being trampled. And, you know, I don't understand why more women aren't speaking up." And I said, well, men need to speak up too.
Right.
It's not, you know, it should
combination. It's like everybody's waiting for the other person to say the truth. It's like, everyone's afraid of not being homophobic, and it's not homophobic to call men, and not to call them brave and beautiful because they put on a dress. I mean, like, let's be real.
Yeah. And this is what the trans cult leaders, you know, starting with that Phyllis Randolph Fry back in 1992, who created the word transgender, and then others like Susan Stryker and so forth, forcibly attaching T to LGB. You have to admit that was a brilliant move. That was
horrible for us, because I mean, it's
horrible. Oh, right. I mean, but
these are mostly gay and lesbians, like your daughter. If she had grown up in a different generation, might have been coming home to you and telling you, "Hey, I'm not a boy. You know, I'm not a girl."
Yeah, and they actually had some gay and lesbian people fighting back. And this was all like journal article, you know, written articles that say we don't want T attached to LGB.
I know, we've been fighting this, but the money, our orgs have sold out.
Yeah. Well, they had everything lined up perfectly. In 1992,
they came for our children first. You know, they went to the youth groups of gay children first before it came to the mainstream.
Yeah. Well, actually, in 1992, they had a continuing education course for lawyers, transsexual lawyers. I
know so many of them that are out there.
What's that?
They've been promoted.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. And they actually developed at those meetings, 92, 93, 94, a manifesto of how to make transgenderism normal and accepted by all of society. And so the
It is
first
not
thing,
normal. It is a
right,
lie.
right. But that was they because they were transsexuals. They
Right.
wanted to be able to walk into a woman's restroom and just be considered everything's fine. So
I'm
what
glad
they
in
had,
Florida, I went
what
to
that,
Old Town last week and some woman actually stopped me and was like, "You're not supposed to be, you're in the wrong bathroom." I'm like, "Thank you. But
oh,
I am a woman. But
yeah,
thank you for looking and caring." Because I miss those days when people would actually question me.
yeah.
Because I'd rather be questioned than to think that men are allowed to just roam around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I mean, if someone catches a side glance, it probably if my
They
daughter
just
had
saw my
short
sneakers and
hair,
my hair, and just, for me from the back,
yeah,
they didn't really know. And when I talked to them, it was very clear that I'm a woman. You know,
right,
like
yeah,
they didn't really notice the difference. But I'm glad they checked versus
yes,
just allowing anyone in, because
yes,
I could have been there to kidnap a child. For who knows? These things
right.
are happening. They say
Kidnap
it
a
never happens,
child,
but it happens all the time. And at least here in Florida, people care
yes,
and they're
yeah.
on alert.
There was that one story, I don't know if you've ever heard about it, where they had this, and it wasn't here in Florida. They had a man dressed as a woman in a woman's restroom, and a
Yeah.
somewhat elderly woman said something to him, and he punched her in
Oh
her
yeah, I
mouth
heard about that.
and
She
lost some
paid
of
the
her
hospital
teeth.
bills.
Pardon me?
She paid the hospital bills. He didn't even have to pay that.
That's insane. Do you happen
How's
to
he
know
not
in
in
which
jail? He's
state
a
that
fucking
occurred?
abuser.
Pardon me?
He's an abuser. And Biden
Yeah.
just passed a law that just it calls it sexual harassment to tell a man that he's a man or use his old name. Do you know how like sex offenders are going to use this like to their benefit? If anyone
And they
uses
are.
my past name, which is on the sex offender list, then they're the sexual harasser.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
this is insanity.
Yeah. I mean, most of the men, I'm sure, who are saying that the criminals in the male prisons that are saying that I'm transgender, they're rapists. They want to have a captive group of women,
Not
you
only
know.
are they most likely to be criminals and sex
Mhm.
offenders, particularly because they are sexual deviants.
Mhm.
And it is through porn that a lot of them have found their identity because it allowed them to prey on women. Like,
Yeah.
this is the obvious reason why they become sex offenders. Or they get the free pass. They're sex offenders and then they get the free pass to get treated lightly, get away with it.
And think about it also that these men have a mental illness, transsexualism, ICD-9 code F64.0. They have a mental illness. And more recently, within the last decade, that's all been swept under the rug. A lot of people, you know, unless you're older like I am, aren't even familiar with the term transsexualism because society has been brainwashed transgender, because it,
Something
you know,
to
it
accept.
doesn't sound so bad. It sounds like a gingerbread person. You
It's an
know?
imaginary thing. Nobody really thinks about it until they meet them. And they think
Yeah.
it's gonna be okay because like he's just wearing something else. But it's
Yes.
not about that. It's about the fetish and it's about playing along with their fantasy, which allows them to take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, and this is what it's so sad that to accomplish their end, they recruited, they brainwash and are continuing to brainwash so many young girls, you know, which
It
is
is young
why they
girls.
wrote
Teenage
them
girls are like
Yeah.
3 million deep
Yes.
into this, cutting off their breast as we speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
In hopes that they can socially be treated as men.
Yeah,
But they're not
and they are being used and
better
abused
paychecks.
outright just to beef up. Well, you can have a man who thinks he's a woman, and part of the evidence is because you can have a girl who thinks that she's a boy. So
They don't want to get themselves in male prisons and into male spaces. I'm like, you are not going to be treated as a man. I'm sorry. You get naked in a male prison, you're going to get raped.
in terms of the woman who say
Yeah.
they're transgender, I don't think any of them do. I've never heard of, and I don't gamble.
Yeah, they never take it that far.
That there is no woman who says she's transgender and wants to be a trans man who's been arrested. They're ever going to say, "Send me to the man's prison."
They say that they would, though. They say
baloney. I don't buy that for you.
But they're never going to be in prison.
That's easy to say
until the moment. Yeah. Just like they all support, like, let's send them to the male, women's prison until you're there in the cell with them, until you're a woman that's in the cell with them. But those women are so selling out the women that are in jail because they have no concern for these women. They think they're lower class. They deserve to be raped, pretty much.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're a criminal, then they're all criminals. And
right.
Think about the babies.
Why I think that the transsexualism movement cult first hit the prisons.
Yeah.
Because people aren't talking about prisons. If they had hit little girls
control the voices of the women in the prisons, they don't let them speak.
Right.
They're captives.
Yeah. So they and only that 1992 manifesto is public that they created. The 93 and 94, at least I haven't been able to find. So I'm sure that they started to go a lot more, with the planning of how can we get this by getting girls, by going to prisons, by attacking a lesbian woman.
If we could do it with them, we could do it with the next group.
Yeah.
And attacking the lower, society groups until the higher ones, which are happy to play along, to sell out it's just a system that just women selling out women until it comes to them. And then it's too late.
Yes. Yeah. Until they go into a woman's locker room and they're changing and some perverts looking at them or potentially rapes them.
Or these former, celebrity athletes that have already set their records. They're more than happy to sell out the young teen girls, and get their little, I am the trans sponsor, but they're not competing against these men. And they already have earned their place in history. Right. But they're being erased completely. They don't know what they're doing to themselves.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Because pretty soon, if this keeps going, you're going to have, and that was an argument from that first guy who called me a TERF like a year and a half ago now. He said, well, there's only a couple men doing that. He may have used the word trans woman.
It doesn't matter a couple or one. Wrong is wrong.
It's if there's one man competing in all the nation, that's one girl who doesn't get the spot. That's one girl.
Why is it okay? Why is one girl chopping off her breast okay?
Yes. What
number is it okay? If it's a million, numbers doesn't mean anything. It's about principles. It's about reality. No man is a woman. No boy is a girl. So let's stop all this insanity.
Yeah. And now, of course, more and more men are coming forward, and boys, I guess, too. And they're getting not only trophies, which I'm sure that they want, but it's a scholarship.
Exactly.
They're getting a lot of scholarship money. Thousands.
And it wasn't about that. They'd still be preying on them. There's 60-year-old men who are coming back into high schools just to go into the locker rooms.
Wow.
Or into the YMCA so they could change in the little girls' swimming trunks, come on. How are men not standing up to these men and saying, hey, you cannot swim with our daughters?
Yeah. There was a YouTube video that I did. I was born in Maryland and I went up to visit, and I was at a swim club, and they had a girls' locker room as a changing room, no lockers really, and a boys. And I went into the girls, and it was completely open. There's, everyone would have been exposed. And I actually asked the lifeguard when I went in, are men allowed in the girls' locker room? And he said yes. He didn't say trans woman.
No, they know it. What do you mean?
They're men.
Yeah, exactly.
Men.
Your eyes will not lie to you. Like, you know a man when you see one. I don't care what they say. Blair White does not pass in reality. Yes, online he used filters and makeup and special effects, but that is not reality. Like the gender unicorn, it is not. It is an image of a reality. Because he's a real person. He's a gay man. He's very petite. But
I would say, and I'll challenge that if any man wants to come to me live in person and he thinks that he can trick me, no. There are signs that just give it away, and in a woman's presence, not photoshopped and blah, blah, blah. And the reason is because
that covers from here to like if you only see your eyes, then of course you can't really tell. But even in the eyes, you can tell the male and female eyes because it's like the spacing, like the sockets.
And the reason why women can do that is because for millions of years to survive, we have had to hone this instinct to know, is that a man or a woman coming? And all the women who didn't get it, who couldn't instantly distinguish between a male and a woman, they got killed off. So the woman now, unless they have some,
Can you imagine that being able to tell a dinosaur that wants to eat you and a dinosaur that doesn't? Well, no, you never were around with the dinosaurs, but whatever dangerous animal was out there.
Yes. Yeah. Females know. Females.
Our species know which ones are carnivores and which ones are not carnivores because we know who's going to kill us or who you can eat. These are things that we know. They can't identify, I am not a wolf. See me as a sheep. No, we have to run from who we need to run from.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what gets me. I did a YouTube on men on lesbian dating sites.
Well, that was one of your best.
I love that one. I loved it. It was so much fun making. It was hilarious.
You're like, this is not lesbian.
And these men actually believe they pass. They all believe they pass. And I started chatting with, pardon me?
They don't, because they're not trying to date other men, okay?
Oh yeah. And none of them want to date another man. None of them do. They all want woman. They want woman. And there was this one fella that I started talking to. I was just kind of, seeing what he thought. Yeah. And he said, well, how could you tell that I'm transgender? And I just laughed. It was on messaging. I must laugh. And I said, because of this and this and this.
Right,
it was very blatant to me. It was very obvious to me.
I'm one at the the night for women, there was this guy there who was trans and he bought me a drink and whatever. And then I told him, I already clocked him when he was telling me because, whatever. I didn't want to get thrown out of there, so I would have told him automatically. But, I was kind of, he wanted to buy
Florida?
What?
Was it here in Florida?
It was here in Florida, right? It's at Southern Nights. So I know it's trans friendly. So I have to play the stupid game when people are socially talking and stuff. But I told him straight up, I'm just like, I clocked you from the minute I saw you. And he's like, how? And I'm like, you're going structure, duh. He's like a fucking learned class type of dude. It's a little bit skinnier, but still, it's structurally come on. And then I told him he had no chance with me because I'm purely pussy. And then he goes, well, I'm going to get one. And I'm just like, really? This guy just told me he's going to invert his dick. And he thinks that I'm going to be interested.
Well, one of the things I found on that dating website, they all say that. They all say, I haven't had
the surgery. Yeah. They're not going to do it.
Saving money for it as though that's going
I don't want it.
A woman.
Yeah. I think it's even more offensive to tell me that you're going to get you're going to invert your dick and you think I'm going to be down for touching that. I wouldn't be down for a penis, but an inverted penis is even mutilated penis. I'm just like, okay, you're not even good for the straight women now at that point.
Yeah, you won't ever be able to go to enough therapy to heal, to be a man, to recognize and embrace that you're a man,
No lesbians interested in that. Come on. It's not going to smell. It's not going to smell right. It's not going to taste right. It's not going to look
That
right.
must be such an insult to you. That must be such an insult to a lesbian woman.
Right.
I can't imagine.
Like straight up with his straight face, he went up to me and goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm gonna get one soon." Like if that would change my answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, no, I see you as completely as the dude you are, and now I think you're very sick and mentally ill and offensive.
Yeah.
Like why are you even
well,
prey
yeah,
on my-
they are. Yeah. And you know what's interesting about the transsexualism medical diagnosis is that they define it as pretty much a man who wants to mimic a woman. They call him a man.
Yeah,
It's
he is a
man who it's not a woman who's confused about what she is and she was diagnosed.
Well, they always center the men. They always center the men, no matter what. You know, they know who the men are, no matter what.
Yeah. It is a man who wants to be a woman. You know, that's how the diagnosis is, which is why they are trying to.
And I want to be 8 foot tall, but it doesn't make me 8 foot tall. You know, like
yeah.
No, I actually don't want to be 8 foot tall, but you know, it's an example. I want to be a millionaire. Boom. No bank is going to be like, I'm going to affirm your identity. Here's the money. No. I mean, wish world worked that way, but it doesn't work that way. We are not the Sims. We are not meat Legos. We cannot just like take off our pants and then switch it with somebody else's pants. And it's the same thing. No.
Change in and out our body parts to the
right. You can have enough surgeries as a woman to stand the pee. Oh my God, that so bothers me. Like these women are mostly lesbians or confused bisexual women think that they're going to have a penis so they can have sex with, well, sometimes gay men. They think it's going to trick them.
Oh, yeah. I don't think any gay man will ever.
But they can't even go that far because they can't even get it up. I mean, and these things have eight revisions and stuff, and they can't even pee right. I'm just like, this is endless infections. Like, there's nothing sexy about it getting a bladder infection. Like,
yeah.
And they get sepsis and MRSA. They're risking their freaking lives for this fake bowel that's from their arms.
Yeah. And these are mostly very young women. And it's so sad because, you know, at age 30, at age 40, at age 50,
what's going to be like?
What kind of lives do these women have? I mean, it's just terribly sad.
It is also reversing on their mothers because their mothers are the ones that are going to have to take care of them. You know, like, so you're going to have to be taking care of your mother and your daughter at some point in your life.
Yeah.
That is just so backwards.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very.
Possibly burying both. I mean, it is.
Pardon me?
Possibly burying both your daughter and your your parent at the same time. I'm sorry. I'm taking care of my grandparents and my mother, and I understand that. But if I had a child and I was also doing that, who knows? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's very sad.
Cycle of life that should not be. We should not be injuring our youngest this way.
One of the YouTube videos that I did like the major different groups of people that think they're transgender, like the little boys whose mother has Munchausen syndrome by proxy, and they're pushing them out for money and fame and blah, blah, blah. And then they have the males with like autogynephilia, and they're just perverted. And then you have like younger women who you're underdeveloped, overdeveloped, and sexually pressured, have autism or tomboy, whatever, then those girls who sometimes think they're non-binary or trans. But what I did is I tried to find some women who were older who thought they were trans. They're very rare. They're very rare. And I'm thinking, if any, and who's that one Buck Angel? He's one of the, she's one of the few that I've seen that are older. And I think the reason is because most of them that they're, pardon?
Money. She's totally in the sex industry. She's paid by the lobby. She made a whole porn gimmick out of this.
Oh, yeah.
Buck has her name for a reason. It's always been about the money with Buck, okay?
Yeah. But I really wonder what type of health she's in, because I had great difficulty
She almost
finding
died.
any other woman. Because think about if you're taking testosterone, a woman's
Raises
body
your heart
isn't made
index.
for that.
Yeah.
So what sort of health ailments do they have that they're hiding? I would suspect
She almost died because of their hysterectomy.
Yeah.
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 This is not going to be good in a generation or two.
No.
Well,
No.
this is why we have to educate our young, and this is why books like yours are so important.
Yes, that's why, and that's why I started early, age 3, to parents to read with their child, because all the trans cult, they get in there as early as they possibly can, and like
in Florida, they can get you at age 7. They can get you at the schools, so you have to be teaching your kids proactively.
Yes, very early on, that there are males and females, and look at all the mammals, and we're just one of the mammals.
We're another mammal. We're not another species.
Yeah.
We don't asexually reproduce. We are not cuttlefish. We are not.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing about those trans called, is they always take an isolated, extraordinarily rare anomaly and give it as the justification for why trans.
It always proves them wrong.
Yes. Yeah. By talking about some, clownfish or, whatever.
Yeah. Human beings are not clownfish.
Yeah.
It is a joke. In the name, it is so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they'll sometimes bring up those few men who have an XXY sex chromosomal makeup.
But they still have a Y.
Where they still have they still have the Y, but there's one extra X, so they have some feminine care, like maybe very small, underdeveloped breasts.
But they still only can be fathers if they can reproduce. They can still only be fathers. They will never be mothers.
Right. Yeah. A lot of them are sterile. So
exactly.
They're not fertile, but they're men.
Exactly, they still are.
Yeah, and sometimes, like the trans cult, they really gobbled up that whole intersex thing.
Well, they were the first targets. I'm sorry, they were there before the gays and the lesbians were the targets, because John Money experimented on the intersex to correct them. That's the first group that was targeted.
Well, actually, John Money, there were a set of twins.
Yeah, I know the twin brothers.
Yeah.
Right.
But they were biological boys, and one went to be, and the parents took them to be circumcised, and the surgeon or medical doctor, whatever.
I know. Messed up.
But so they're not intersex people. They are.
I know, but they were some accident, and then
right. Yeah. So, and then for those of you,
women are not failed males. We're not failed males. We're not males that have been cut or abused. We're women. Women are our own thing.
Yeah.
Cutting up penis like a woman.
Actually, it's the XX chromosome, which was first, and then the Y sex chromosome was sort of like
the X is the human. The human.
Yeah. The Y was in like an X that went wrong.
Yeah.
And that's how the Y sex chromosomes got started, because it was an X that mutated, and that's why the Y sex chromosome is all feeble and little, and
it keeps mutating itself out of existence.
Longer. Yeah.
There are species that the woman has become advanced enough to reproduce by themselves, but we're not that species either.
Yeah. Whatever happened to that? Because I know that years ago they were talking about that, even 20 years ago, where they were talking about using one X sex.
They still have that. They still can do that.
Pardon me?
They could put a tail on a woman's egg and make it men's with another one's. That is possible.
Yeah. So meaning they can create life with two X sex
Yeah.
chromosomes from females. Okay.
The technology, theory is there in, theory, but it's not.
Yeah. Well, because that's what I heard, that it is in theory, but it never got to that point. And I think the reason that it hasn't gotten it to being medically safe is because men have been suppressing it.
Of course.
Men don't want that to be a reality, that you wouldn't need a man.
It makes more sense that we could reproduce asexually than it would be, because we're the ones who carry them, and our bodies are made for that.
Yeah.
Men's bodies cannot do that, and we'll never have room for it. It will break their hips. It will kill them. They cannot even have the blood of another person in their system. The blood of a pregnant woman would kill a man. So it's total fiction that they're ever going to have a womb, and that is nonsense.
Yeah, they're talking about such horrible acts with that, because it started when they were talking about implanting a womb inside of a woman, but let's say had cancer, blah blah blah. So now these cult leaders are then trying to bend it to somehow potentially, and
but it's not happening.
I don't see how it. Yeah,
no, it would break their bones. It would kill them in the blood. It's an instant thing. It's not like it would even be possible until this point. No, there's no room for it.
Yeah. That's
well. Thank you so much for being my guest and sharing your book with us. You can purchase it at thewellnesssociety.org. You
Sharon. Go right to it.
Please share it everywhere. Please get it in your schools. And it's been lovely conversation to have with you, and your book is just so smart and so beautiful. I think every child should be reading a copy of it.
Thank you. And I honestly am asking the audience to please buy it, please share it. I'm not making a profit on it, but the more money that I can get, the more I can put into marketing.
And more other books like this can come out.
To marketing. And if there's anyone in the audience that knows about marketing, contact me if you're willing to help me market, because I'm a writer. I don't know how to market, and I'm just sort of needing some help. So,
well, thank you so much for being my guest, and this is a great conversation. We will be doing more live events in the future. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good day, everybody.
Great.
Bye.